Hello, everyone. This is your heart message of the week, and I wanted to talk about inherited emotional wounds. Or sometimes it's called ancestral wounding, ancestral wounds. And this basically is a continuation of the video I did on how your consciousness gets imprinted in childhood through the impact of the emotion that is projected, and the intensity of the emotion is what creates the depth of the imprint and how it's embedded, like how deeply it's embedded in your consciousness. So similarly, basically all your parents' traumas and emotional wounds that they haven't processed, that they haven't acknowledged, and that they've basically denied and repressed or suppressed, will get passed on to you. It will get projected and passed on to you throughout childhood. Now, I believe that this is the main reason why the mother wound in particular goes a lot deeper than the father wound. Of course, you're going to have father wounds, but the mother in particular, mainly because, firstly, you are in her belly, in her womb for 9 months, and everything that she experiences throughout those 9 months, you also experience emotionally. So, if she was having issues with your father at that time, you will feel that. If she felt, emotions and feelings of wanting to get an abortion, you will feel, rejected and unloved. And whatever she went through at that phase, you will feel it. And you probably will not remember it consciously. You will remember it as a feeling. So you will have the sensation or feeling of always feeling unwanted, let's say, and it's like the deeper underlying unconscious feeling that you have maybe towards your mother, if that did happen to you. So basically, as a child, we're dependent on our parents for survival. And what happens is, because they are our caretakers, on an unconscious level, everything that they project onto us, we feel an obligation unconsciously to take that on. Because if we don't, we're not going to survive. This is what goes on in our little unconscious mind. And obviously we're just growing, we're just developing, and we want to survive, and we want to belong to the tribe, to the family. Otherwise, there's a big chance, especially if we're left on our own as a baby, that you'll probably die, you're not going to survive. So on an unconscious level, you feel obligated to take on your parents' woundings in order to survive. And what happens then is, much later on in life, you play out their stories and their wounds, basically. You carry them. Also, I think that we do this as a way to feel connected, but this connection is based on wounding. It's not a real, authentic connection based on love. And we do this as a way to feel accepted in the tribe. And whenever we don't, we then get rejected or punished. And so at an unconscious level, all of this gets projected, and we just continue to take on these stories and these ancestral wounding. Otherwise, we don't survive. So the good news for you is that actually you cannot process anyone else's traumas or wounds because they're not your emotions. But what you do have to do is to consciously become aware of what stories and what woundings have you taken on from your parents, and you need to make a conscious decision to give that up, not to carry their wounds forwards. So, and what I've seen happen as well on an unconscious level, or consciously, is you feel a sense of betraying your parents because they brought you up, and now you've survived, you're here. So there is almost like a sense that you're going against your tribe, you're going against your family unit. But you have to see this, or the way that you can change your perspective on this well, or you have to understand that you are being loyal to their wounds, to their suffering, and you're basically buying into the idea that they're victims, that they can't change. So in essence, you're keeping them stuck, and you're keeping this wounded story alive. And I actually believe that this is how genetic diseases get passed on. Genetic diseases are just ancestral woundings from thousands of years being passed on through the consciousness and genes, emotionally being imprinted. And these are just wounds that have not been processed, that have not been healed. But anyway, that's besides the point. That's just my belief in terms of inherited emotional wounds. But my point to this video is, if you've done enough inner child work, and you're still feeling like a little bit stuck, maybe the next step for you is to look at ancestral wounds that you're carrying from your parents and their parents and so on. And what you need to understand, that by being the person to break this pattern, to stop carrying your ancestors' wounds, and to stop this, you're setting them free. You're setting yourself free, and you're setting them free, whether they see this or not, whether they believe this or not. And what will happen very often is that once you let go of their stories, very often, especially if they're not on the journey, they will try to project again the stories onto you so that you can get hooked on and come back to the wounded tribal dynamic. So you really need to be conscious, be brave, and have courage, and know that you are on the right path, because I certainly don't want to honor anyone's suffering and wounding. I want to set myself free, and I want to grow and evolve, and that's what I believe in. And know that sometimes when you do break free, other parts, other family members or the tribal unit, it's almost like you're giving them permission as well to break free, and you're showing them that it's possible to free yourself from suffering, as long as first you are willing, and second, obviously they also have to do their own work to process their own wounds, and be responsible and accountable for their own emotional baggage, I guess. Yeah, I hope that helps. I hope you enjoyed that. If you have any questions, you can always write a message or send me a message. And that's it for today. Bye for now.